But when it comes to recoil,
Yeah.
I am like, this is a step back. Like this, we had this meta. We've been here. We've done this.
Welcome to the Kitted Podcast, Episode 1. My name's Toffee. I'm joined by Poro over here, sitting next to me. I think we're going to have a pretty good time. We have a lot of interesting things that we're going to be talking about. Bold claim. Well, I'm excited about your first time. So for everybody who's just tuning in, very simple premise. My name's Toffee. I do esports, and I play a shit ton of Tarkov. I am a rat. I'll say more of a honey badger, because I do like to fight. There's nights when you just got that as kits and you want to go ham. But most of the time, you'll find me in a bush. I got an address. It's bush.com. Porosaurus has never played this game before. Esports, Poro, tell these people a little bit about yourself and what I got you into.
Yeah, so I casted esports for a very long time. A lot of that time with Mr. Toffees, and I'm a shooter guy. Like I'm an FPS guy. Like I'm one of those Call of Duty. Like get me in there and like I'm twitching all around. I'm doing 360s and I want to run in. And I've never played Tarkov before, but obviously I've heard all about it, a lot about it, watched a little bit of it. But I wanted to go in and play this game with as limited amount of information as possible. Didn't ask for help, didn't look up help, didn't look up guides, just went in as dry and raw as possible. And we'll talk about it.
I mean, and I think everybody who's watching, if you guys are fans, if you've played for a long time, you know how badly I know this is going to go. So I'm excited about hearing about that. We're on YouTube. We're on, I think we're doing some podcast release, so it's going to be on all the podcast services. We're also going to be live on Twitch every week when we record. So tune in, check it out, and then, of course, follow us if you like. We're going to go over updates, have special guests. In fact, UnfluffyBunny is going to be joining us in a little while. I wanted to bring him tonight so he can help Poro get a handle on his first week of play. Maybe give us some tips and then talk about, obviously, the updates that just came out. But this is chill. You want to crack a beer? You want to hang out? That's what we're going to do. We're going to be here for a very short amount of time and have some fun with it. So, very simple. Let's start out with the basic questions. Normally, I'm going to ask stuff like, what's your build? What's your favorite loadout right now? But I wanted to start today with Poro.
Yes.
How was your first time in Tarkov?
All right, so I had no idea. Like, obviously, the first thing I noticed is the music is extremely fucking loud. So had to get in and adjust that as quickly as possible. But then, no idea about like I'm having to choose what is it, bear or USEC? No idea. So I being the good American, freedom loving American I am, I chose USEC. Got in there, chose my character and my voice. No female characters. Tarkov.
We don't talk about
no
this.
female character models.
Wait till you go to the gym for your first
in
workout
2023.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
What is going on here?
Just wait till you get to the gym. Anyway.
Okay. Maybe I'm just new. I'm just new. So I out of the limited stuff I did know, right? I know that, and then context clues going in there. I was like, I don't want to go in there and risk all my stuff, anything at all, really. I don't. That's why you don't bring me to Vegas. So I was like, I'm gonna go in as a scav, right? I'm gonna go in as a scav just so I could get a feel for some of these maps, right? First one I went to Lighthouse, obviously, because of the song. It's the only reason. Literally the only I had no idea which map to go to. What map is more friendly? I go to Lighthouse because of the fucking song, dude. Like, you know the song, right?
Lighthouse?
The Lighthouse Party song?
No. So you want to
you're missing out, bro. You're missing.
For me? I feel like this is a build up for a song of something.
No, well, I can't do it justice. Like, your viewers know the Lighthouse Party song.
Okay.
All right, just YouTube the Lighthouse Party song. Maybe we can add it in post. But so I go to Lighthouse, and as a scav, first thing I notice is the UI is I don't know what the fuck's going on. I got a gun, which is great, and I'm seeing these hints in the loading screen, right? Like Alt T to check how many rounds are in your magazine. I'm like, what the fuck do I need to do that for? Does it not have a thing that says like how many you can check and see. Wow, what's in the chamber?
Can I pause you for a second? Because
knock yourself out.
The normal format for this show is we talk about shit and then we bring in the guest. But I feel like I want Fluff to be part of your first experience, so we can watch his face as well. So I'm gonna just go ahead.
I see his face
I know.
right now.
I'm just gonna bring him in to start the show, and then he'll be part of everything we do. Going, if you're okay with that, Fluff, let's just go ahead and get him in here right now. I'm just gonna summon the man, the myth, the legend. This is the UnfluffyBunny. Welcome to the Kidded Podcast, episode 1. You were listening in the wings, so I know you. I can see your face.
Yeah, guys, that was that.
Woo! It's
that
real,
was an
though.
intro. I was trying to not let it. I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep my face kind of stoic through this entire. But as you're going into it, and you're like, oh, I'm checking my magazines. Why do I need to do that? That should be on the HUD. And I'm just like, oh, he really isn't prepared for what's about to happen to him, is he? And then,
man.
You lost me as soon as you said I decided to go to Lighthouse of all maps, and I was just like, I'm like, okay,
so you get into the scav game, and you've learned Alt T checks your mag. Did you check your mag when you got in there?
Fuck no. I just assume.
Okay.
I didn't check. Apparently, you could check the chamber too.
Yep. Oh, you can check everything. And we'll
I'm just
talk
gonna
about
assume that my guns are gonna work.
No, and every gun has 8 to 12 different ammo types half the time. So you got a lot of and each ammo has different penetration values for the armor of the person you're fighting. It's.
I am one that needs to always be mindful of penetration values, Toffies.
Everybody needs to be.
You also need to be careful, real quick. I hate to cut you off, Toffies, because you pointed out something about the ammos for the different guns. Certain magazines fit different styles of guns, and different ammos can go into that. So you will have an experience. You will no matter how much. Even me telling you this right now, you will still have this happen to you.
100%.
Where you will go into raid. And you will go to click your gun, and it'll go, and you're like, what is wrong? And you will have the wrong ammo for that gun.
And here's the best part. You'll press Alt-T, you'll press Shift-T, you'll reload a few times, you'll unpack the mag, repack the mag, and then you'll go, wait a minute, I thought this was a 7.6239. Why? Oh, no. And then you throw your gun in a bush and just run straight at somebody with a knife. And that, that's fun. That's Tarkov, baby.
That's, I'm fully expecting to do that. I'm not expecting to I don't even think I'm going to extract for the first 10 runs.
So are you saying you did not get out of your first run? Did you not survive your first run?
No, I quit.
I
was given a heads up because Toffee's, God bless him, can't help himself and has to give advice.
I do. I can't help it. That's why I have a show.
The one thing that I knew was that if you're a scav, you shouldn't shoot other scavs.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah,
for a rookie.
It is. But the comedy factor, you just missed out on, because I wanted to unload on the first thing that I saw, and I was like, I don't know what it is. Is it a scat? It moved like a computer. It moved like an NPC. So I was like, I'm not gonna shoot that. He's not shooting at me. I'm running around with my big, loud as fuck footsteps that I feel like could be heard from 3 counties. He's not shooting me, so I probably shouldn't shoot him. So I kind of ran around, and then I just kept seeing him. I kept seeing more and more, and I'm like, I don't know if I don't think I'm supposed to shoot them either. How do you? Okay, I'll put that in my list of questions for noobs. but yeah, I was like, well, fuck, I don't know what I'm supposed to shoot. The first thing I shoot, I know for fact it's not gonna be the thing I'm supposed to shoot. So I didn't want to fuck myself right off the bat. So I stopped and I wrote down my list of questions to come and ask the professionals.
That's great. What a great transition. All right, so save the questions. You didn't survive your first run. I think we'll have to answer a few of these because you had first contact. I think now you understand how fucked this game really is. And we'll answer a few of those questions to get it a little bit easier because, yes, I'll be honest, scav runs, I almost never even shoot my gun. am in there to fill up a backpack with high expensive gear so that I can take my PMC in and afford to try to survive, because that's where the XP comes from. I'm sure Bunny's got insights on that. Before we get into it, though, I do need to ask a couple of quick questions because I just want to keep track of this for the next couple of months. Poro, what level are you currently?
What's is there a level lower than 1?
Nope, there is just 1. So you are 1.
All right, I'm right there. I'm
but
1.
you're building up, and I did the same thing. You're building up the willingness to go in on your first PMC run. There's a lot of scavving that happens before a player's first PMC run a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm gonna get roasted by one of you assholes the second I step foot in a PMC. Like, I already know.
Oh,
like, I know it's
100%.
gonna happen.
You
I'm
will.
just going in with a pistol and maybe bullets.
The only question is,
I'm
will
lucky.
you be killed in a stylish, fashionable way by Bunny, or will you be killed from a bush by me? Bunny, what level are you right now?
I just hit 41 today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I think I just hit 30, so I'm pretty happy with that as far as this wipe goes. So we're on the grind. Cool. I will ask very briefly, what is your fuck off? What is your favorite loadout right now? Like, what's your gun and your armor that you're taking into raids when you have a choice? That's for Bunny, because Poro has no idea.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those things where it's very dependent on the map. What I'm gonna run. Like, if I'm going lighthouse, it's usually a bolty with like an SMG secondary, like a DVL, and then SMG of some kind. Yeah, depending on the map. Like, if I'm bringing a bolty, I always bring an SMG secondary just to be smart. Usually I'm a DMR kind of guy, so ADARs, the SAG 545. It's really, really good early game. It's a great little weapon. People sleep on it a lot. RFB used to be one of my favorite guns until M80 was locked until the Nethers, and it's just not it anymore. But yeah, that's normally it. Those are my favorite kind of style of guns. Don't really like full auto. Armor is just going to be also dependent on the map, and with all the changes and stuff today, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with that because everything changed today.
We'll get into that. Mine's RFB and armor rigs right now, because nobody steals armor rigs. That shit was far too heavy yesterday, so everything always comes back on insurance. And that's a tip for you, Poro, to take with you when you get into armor. Armor rigs are fucking heavy, and they have no extra storage, so nobody will take them. Spend your insurance on armored rigs. For everybody at home, that's a little tip. RFBs are my go-to because I craft M80. Like, it's my job. Like, I'm already sitting on, I think, almost a full ammo can of the stuff. But that's because I do just enjoy managing this game. All right, so those are the build-outs. Let's talk about the changes. Now, I wasn't planning on being an update podcast, but we will give you major updates because that's important, and I don't want you to have to, like, if you're like me, follow the Twitter. You can just watch us once a week, and you'll know if you need to know something. So here is the changes that came out today. Reduced recoil for all weapons, reduced stamina penalty when hit. So basically, when you get hit, that I can't fucking move. It's definitely not as bad as it used to be. Increased the weight limit before you're overweight, which is nice because you can actually steal someone's armor now. Reduced the stamina consumption on energy and water. Greatly reduced penalties for armor. Reduced camera recoil by 20% for all weapons. And then tomorrow, apparently, they're attacking the binaural sound again. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Let's go to you, Bunny, because you play this far more than the rest of us. What's your take? I know that you actually tweeted today that your take is not necessarily the same as the powers that be, the streamer Illuminati. Is it safe for you to speak outside of this Illuminati?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not one afraid to voice my opinion when it comes to certain aspects of the game, and I am very much on the opposite end of this of the spectrum of everybody kind of like promoting and being happy. There are things about the changes that I think were really extremely positive. One of the biggest changes that I think was extremely positive specifically was the weight change. I have been a huge proponent that going into a raid with a rig, whether an armor and a vest, helmet, ears, and a gun, just one gun and a couple of mags, you should never be overweight as long as you're not being excessive with it. Like, I was going into raids with no backpack and no melee weapon and still overweight. And I was like, that's just not okay. Like, I have 2 mags. Why am I overweight? Because the weight limit was 25 kilograms.
Right.
That was bumped up to, I believe, depending on your character strength, it will go from 29 to 33 or something around there. It's somewhere in that range of kilograms now before you're overweight. based off of your strength. But I just was I was like, this makes no sense. This isn't reasonable. Your endurance doesn't go up when you're in raid and you're overweight. So that's something very good for you to know, Poro, is when you start doing PMCs, if your character has the overweight icon, you do not gain endurance. Like your character's endurance level will not go up. So what was ending up happening is we were getting levels in strength. Like my character right now is like 20 strength, but he's 6 endurance on my PMC because he was just always overweight. So weight, huge change. I think that one was perfect. The visual recoil, I think, was very, very much needed because it was just super unrealistic when you're aiming down sights, the way the camera's moving while you're getting recoil. That didn't make sense.
Right.
The food change that was addressed, I didn't think that bothered me one way or another. I'm like, people have to eat less in raid and they're less worried about it. I get it. I liked it for the survival aspect of it. I get the change. That one is just
it's a rat buff. It's a rat buff.
Exactly. Like that one, I'm like, okay. But when it comes to recoil, I am like, this is a step back. Like this, we had this meta. We've been here. We've done this. And I feel like the community is very, like, their memories are just extremely short because we dealt with this for 2.5 wipes.
You're talking about the laser beam M4 HK meta, right?
So SA58, M4, HK, every SMG.
Yep.
What else? I mean, there's just so much that's like, I'm trying to go through all the stuff in my head. Oh, MCX is actually really, really good now because they essentially cut the recoil of horizontal recoil in half for every weapon,
right? While
still keeping vertical recoil, and there's still RNG in the bullets, which I just don't understand.
Right.
Like, to me, this was a knee-jerk reaction to a small subset of the community being very vocal about recoil, and I'm like, guys, within 2 weeks, I guarantee you, Twitter is going to be like, I'm tired of HK 60 rounders just lasering me around corners. And I'm also like, I've been in this community since 2018. That was my first raid. I remember my first raid in 2018. So when Poro's over here going, I don't know what to do. I remember those days of like, where's my extract? How do I move? Here's a wall. I'm going to put my hand on the wall and just walk along it and feel safe.
You know that the train outside of Big Red, there's that bush right on the other side of the train as you go downhill to Junk Bridge. That's my first bush. I sat in that bush for 38 minutes. And then
that does not shock me.
I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. 3 people walked past me with my little pistol, and finally I just looked up exits and ran along the wall till I found one. And it was a wonderful raid. I extracted. It felt so good. But you only get to play Tarkov for the first time once, and that's what I'm excited about for Poro, because it is a terrible, wonderful experience. Anyway, sorry. So back to, you remember the laser beams. You think lasers are back.
I that not just think. I mean, there are videos upon Twitter videos of everybody showing. I mean, the SCAR, the 5.56 SCAR right now is one of. So the SCAR and the RD704, we didn't have those when this was the meta previously with recoil. So seeing both of those today, I was just like, this just isn't competitive. There's nothing. And a lot of people are reacting to Veritas's video that he put out, his video about, is Tarkov going in the wrong direction? My concern is that the devs saw that and knee-jerked and was like, oh, obviously this is what everybody wants. And I was like, it's not. This is like, I think they took the wrong things from that video and implemented it into the game. It's like, You talked about being able to maneuver and being able to get to cover. The stamina, when you get shot and you were losing stamina, that was dumb. Nobody liked that. But now it's like, guess what? If I'm called out in the open, me not losing stamina doesn't matter because I'm dead before I can react.
Right.
There is no counterplay. And that's when Tarkov is its best, is when armor does something.
Yep.
When flesh ammo and flesh damage is not multiplied, because a lot of people don't realize this, black limbs have a 1.5 times multiplier or a percentage chance to outright kill you. So if a limb goes black,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, a lot. If a limb goes black, you have it gets higher the higher your health skill gets, but your black limbs have a percentage chance to outright kill you, but also black limbs take 1.5% more damage.
That makes sense.
And it's like, oh, and then it's like we still have blunt damage. Like I'm okay with some of these changes if we remove blunt damage, so you're not getting spread damage. Your chest isn't getting beamed over and over and over. You're not taking extra damage from these lasers from across the map because your legs are blacked. And we are addressing all of the high caliber ammos that are available to people and putting them into guns, because now guess what? Everybody has like a lot of all of these changes. This boils down to all of these changes affect casual players, not the elites. So that is my problem.
The reason that I started the show, and I'll be honest here, is that often the feedback comes from places where, and this is every game, right, Poro? I mean, we see this in PUBG and everywhere else.
Yeah.
The big streamers who play the game differently than 96% of the audience talk about it. And I totally respect the position of respecting their position. But it's, I get RPG recoil is not necessarily everybody's, cup of tea. But I think the 20% camera reduction plus the reduction of the recoil, it just seems very fast. And honestly, the meta guns, if you had a chance to build one prior to this nerf, those things were still ridiculously strong. And the players who needed the nerf are the players who are going to be fully meted out with tier 5 killing ammo within the next week and a half. So this to me only hurts guys running AKs with, PS ammo who needed that little extra. Like, they needed you to suck for a second so that they could possibly come out with a win. So that's my worry. I think we're going to get laser. I think you're right. Laser beam spam. We're all going to get scars to deal with in the next week. It's going to be like the fucking Val meta all over again. Every person you killed, if they're wearing tier 6, is rocking a Val. So, it is what it is. I am excited to see where it goes. I do like that BSG responded, that they came out and tried to make some changes, and that doesn't mean it won't change back, right? Nikita listens. That's the one thing that drew me to Tarkov, is he listens and he tells you shut the fuck up. He doesn't like what you have to say. So, and I dig that. That's the fun part of this game. So we'll see how that goes. I will say this. There were some rat buffs that I thought were cool. Things that were pissing me off. I used to have to carry so much food. I stay in raids until the last 2 minutes. And the amount of food I had to eat was obscene. I was carrying SJ12s just so that I could survive every raid. This is nice for those of us who play slow and low. The armor, now I can actually carry out armored rigs, which is nice. So there are some quality of life stuff that I think are very good. I'm hoping that we don't go full laser, or at least we nerf some of those submachine guns, because I do not want to play interchange after the changes today.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Some of the changes are absolutely amazing, and I gripe and I'm very vocal about the big changes that the movement stuff, the way that weight works now. Being able to actually carry stuff out is so good, because that's what this game is about. Is that, guess what? Even if you're a level 5 Timmy, when Tarkov shines is when there's that level 5 that can still kill a geared out 42, and you get to walk out with that stuff, and you
that's
are
gonna
like,
be me.
You will. It will, though, and that's the day that you get hooked.
100%.
I'll never forget. I turned a corner on customs. I had just looted 3 things. I'm doing my little sneak walk, because that's all you do at the start. You're fucking crouch walking across the entire map. And I saw someone's ass on top of a rock, put a bullet right through that butthole, walked over, and it was the juiciest dude I'd ever seen in my life. And I remember messaging other people and being like, oh my God, what do I do now? And they're like, that's Tarkov. You wear the gear. And I was like, well, hold the fuck. I wear the gear? I'm not wearing this. I'm not risking this. And that starts the whole chain of gear fear that we will also get to watch Poro learn to fight through.
No. Okay. You're probably one of those people that whenever you played Skyrim back in the day, you got the really, really good weapon that you didn't want to damage it, because you're like, one of these times I'm gonna need this for some fight. And then you end up finishing the game, never used it at all. Fuck that. I'm using everything. I'm going in there until I may end up with nothing in my inventory. Right. It's probably gonna happen.
I'm gonna agree, because I finish every game like Witcher, Skyrim without having used any of the potions, period, because you never know. But 10 minutes ago, you said I scabbed because I was scared to lose my stuff. So I'm just saying there's
I didn't know. Well, I also don't know the maps, dude. I don't even know how to extract.
You'll never know.
So here's the biggest thing. Like one of the things that I'll tell for you, and I was laughing because you scavved into you just went straight scav live server, which is very
respect,
very ambitious.
Yes. That's amazing.
Use your offline raids. They will help you so much, because not only does it get you comfortable with fighting scavs, it also allows you to learn the map at your pace, because especially with the expansion with this wipe of the settings that you can turn on for it, you can change like time of day, all kinds of stuff, how many scavs are on the map, how much
I have no idea what the gun mechanics are like in this. I haven't shot a bullet yet.
Look through iron sight, pull trigger, hope for best.
That's it. That's literally.
Oh, I almost killed you, Toffees. I know Toffees hates iron sights.
Dude,
they are
hate
horrible.
Iron sights.
They are bad.
See, this is why I have trauma from playing Tarkov at the start of every wipe with iron sights. Like when we would play Call of Duty, I'd be like, I need to have a if you find a red dot, tell me. And he'd be like, you need to get better, man. You need to get better with iron sights.
Play with the freaking iron sights.
The pros just use iron sights. And I was like,
get quicker ADS, man.
That's why we cast and we're not pros, because I'm not doing that.
Thank you. All right, Poro, did you have any questions for Fluff about how to get better? Okay,
I got lots of questions.
Let's take advantage.
Yeah. All right. If you were coaching a young, virile, very handsome new player, hypothetically, of course. So outside of offline raids, what should I be? What should be my primary focus? Just doing missions? Like what's like there's a lot of loot as well in Tarkov, like a lot of stuff that you're bringing up. But what is important to get first? To prioritize first, as opposed to like everything else. Like I don't want to be going in there and like taking one thing when I could take another thing, but I think this is more important, kind of thing. That makes sense.
That completely makes sense. So this is one of the things about Tarkov that's a very complex question to answer and to kind of think about, because there's no right or wrong answer with this. I could tell you one thing, you can ask somebody else and they're going to tell you completely different. The thing is, I would always suggest is, what are your goals? Like you have to say, okay, when I'm about to go into raid, what is my goal in this raid? It's a little bit different now because of flea market, because a lot of those goals you can just kind of achieve through purchasing on the flea market. So it comes down to making money. But a lot of it is like, do you want to focus on getting more gear to use? Do you want to focus on getting your hideout upgraded? Do you want to focus on items for questing? Like those
I haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Yeah, see, so these are the things. Yeah, see, that's where it starts to come in. It's like you have a lot of players don't even realize that there's a whole meta game to just flea market and hideout about like finding stuff on the ground that you would think is garbage. Like, oh, I've got these red pliers. This isn't going to sell for anything. Then you get to level 15 and you have the flea market and you're like, oh, those red pliers that I was holding, that's 60K because people need it for this stuff. Like, there's a whole nother market. My biggest piece of advice is don't worry so much about the minuscule thing, the micro play. Worry about macro play at the beginning. Worry about understanding just looting itself and getting comfortable with getting out with loot. It doesn't matter what it is. Just getting out with a full bag and a full rig, because every single slot that's filled is money. Every slot that is empty is not. And that's the best way to think about it.
Yep.
Fair enough.
And you're going to die. Like, survival rates, the best players in the world. I mean, we're talking guys like Fluff. I mean, I'm a big fan of watching Dill. Like, you remember Dill Hero from PUBG?
Yep.
Yeah.
This kid's a fucking monster, especially at labs. But his survival rate's still probably, I would guess he's maybe at 70 if he's lucky. But most of the best players in the world are sitting in anywhere by, I think, 58 to 69 would be my guess. So you don't survive. That's the whole point of the game, is you want to make more when you're in than when you die. I think that's great. That's it. And like, the quests are how you level up. The fastest way to level is doing quests. It's super tempting to ignore them, but be aware of them because they're just collection shit. It's like, oh, that's a shotgun. I need that specific shotgun, so I'll carry it out with me. And then Hideout is a meta that you won't even need to worry about for about 5 to 12 levels. And then once the flea market opens, the game actually starts. And that's when shit gets absolutely wild because you can start to sell your products and work your way up level-wise. And then you get meta guns, and you're like, holy shit, this is a totally different gun game than it was 6 levels ago. The first 15 levels are about learning how to survive and learning, like, literally, this is the only game you could sit in a fucking bush, right? And someone, like, I will be walking, and I will hear someone running, and I will jump into a bush because I know that I hear 3 sets of feet, and just hunker down, and they will walk within inches of you and have no fucking idea and leave the map. Like, this is the only game I've ever played where that's an actual viable survivability, and you are not a bad person for doing that because you would have lost that fight, and extraction is more important than murder.
Yeah. That is one of the biggest, what Toffee's literally just like touched on right there is something that even higher end players have a tendency to even forget is if you are going into raid, survivability is more important than always taking the fight. Knowing when to pull off of a fight. Like if you're in it and you're like, man, I'm running low on ammo, my mags aren't packed, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Instead of ego challenging, trying to repeak, sometimes it is better. Back off, heal up, repack mags, and maybe readdress that fight. And those are just skills that you learn as you continue to play.
Figure out where they were
I'm the
headed.
ego challenger. That's going to be real hard for me, man.
You're going to love it. Yep. Today, I was on Shoreline, and some fucknut shot at me from across the swamp, and I shot at him. I think I tagged him once. He missed me. We chose not to fight, but I went, I know where you're extracting, bitch, and managed to get a wraparound and get in between them. Like, that's literally the way this game works is if I can tell anything for you to fight at home, if you're not a pro, if you are not one of these streamers who wins every fight because your skills are the size of your gun, re-engage. The second you shoot your gun, that place is no longer okay for you to be. You back the fuck up, you rotate away, and if you can't find a safe spot to re-engage, just go get some loot because you don't have to win that fight. Trust me, the stuff they're carrying is not as valuable as the rollie in the safe just over that hill. So fuck off, go find more loot. That's literally my MO when I play this game.
I have another question.
Yes, lit it.
Another question. What would you recommend be my first map that I should like learn?
That's a good one. What do you got?
This is another one of those things.
He's not a fast player.
There's not a right or wrong answer.
There's one wrong answer. There's one wrong answer.
I mean, it's definitely not Labs or Lighthouse. I'll tell you that much. Don't go to those maps for a long time.
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse. Oh man,
Lighthouse
is God, that map. You know what? Me and that map have ups and downs, and today was a down for me. A lot of people would suggest customs because it's actually funny if you go into the game and you go to the map select screen and you click on each of the locations, it tells you at the bottom. It's like, oh, there's this many players on this map that can spawn in, and this is our rating for it.
Lies.
It's easy. And don't listen to those. Do not look at those because that is a lie.
Lies.
Like I don't suggest customs specifically because customs is there's 2 types of players on customs, right? Customs is new players like yourself trying to do your very first match or very first task of finding a golden pocket watch in a truck, and you're just trying to get your golden pocket watch and leave with it. Then there's everybody who's later on into the wipe who now have to go back there and kill nothing but scavs or kill snipers, sniper scavs with a bolt action while they're also running around with a mutant. Like the play styles of that map are so like polarizing. It is ridiculous because you're either just going to get level 5 Timmies that are getting mowed down or level 42s that are doing the mowing down. So stay away from customs to start with. I kind of lean. Okay.
Come on.
I'm a little bit different here. I lean towards Shoreline.
My man. I knew you'd like Shoreline. I love Shoreline.
I love Shoreline.
I love Shoreline.
But when I say that, I say stay away from the resort.
Never. What's resort? Erase it from your map. Literally get your map and put a post-it over it, and that doesn't exist for you.
Yeah, when I started playing Tarkov, the resort wasn't even part of the map. We just had the road that led to customs, and the resort when we got at it, it was so Oh, it was like Streets times 10
Yeesh.
of, it just did not run well. But I would say stay away from the resort, but just learn the outside of the maps because there is so much openness and different levels of fighting because of the high ground over by weather station, low ground, lots of ditches for you to hide in and get comfortable with bushes. And it will teach you kind of how to move through a map
Mm.
properly. So I would say Shoreline is probably one of the earlier maps that I suggest, but it is very much it's still a very hard map.
Sure.
But it gives you the most survivability because there are so many places for you to just hide if you hear a lot going on and you need to get comfortable and you're just like, okay, I need to sit here for a few minutes while this fight happens and moves past me, then I can move on. So customs is a really good one, I would say.
Shoreline, he said.
I mean, Shoreline, not customs.
So-
Stay off of
Not
customs.
Basically,
Unless I have a mission. I have
Yeah.
to do.
it's a battle arena game right now. And so you just have to look at it as there are multiple kinds of battle arenas, right? Your labs and your factory are a top-down. In fact, I think Streets is now too. A top-down battle arena like a Halo would have been, where it's just a gigantic square where everything connects through different options and everybody fucks each other up. That's all it is a war. Then you've got your customs, and I would say Lighthouse is this as well. They're very linear maps. There's usually 3 routes through them. You can take the main route through the middle or the 2 less active side routes. Shoreline is also technically one of these, and there's choke points in the middle that you're going to have to cross to get out.
Yeah.
So there are high risk areas, but a lot of low risk around that. So you just know your choke points and know how to avoid them. And then you have like woods, reserve. These are just expansive maps. There's a lot of ways out in different corners. There's a lot of options for how to fight. But because of that, you get a lot of unexpected contact because everyone else is sort of just freewheeling their way across the map. So I think it kind of fit your style. I think I like woods to start with because you can go game on game without ever actually seeing anybody who wants to fight and sort of learn the mechanics because it's just so vast. And as long as you walk in the opposite direction of where you spawned, you will probably find your extract. So those are the ones that I think are great starters for folks. I will say this: my plan with Bunny, I don't know if Bun, UnfluffyBunny was to learn about his history as a streamer and chat about casting and things like that. We are getting close to the end of the show because I promise you won't go over 45 minutes for any episodes. So I'm going to say we're going to bring Bunny back at some point here in the next couple of weeks to sort of give us the history because I did not expect the patch notes. I did not expect all of the chaos that was this week because it was a wild week for Tarkov to sort of come up and raise its head. So I hope you're okay with that, UnfluffyBunny. I'd love to have you back just to converse even and chill with us.
Absolutely love to come back. Honestly, I could talk Tarkov all day. I love this game so much. So
it's one of those things where it's like, well, okay, we'll stop that podcast. But if you're watching live on twitch.tv, like, we'll just keep fucking going. Poro, I think we have time for like 1 or 2 more quick fire questions if you want, or if you think you need some other help, or you can tell me more about yourself. I'll figure this out because my brain's already exploding with information.
Massive brain energy. Tell me more about yourself.
Hi, I'm UnfluffyBunny. I have been a Tarkov content creator since 2018 with a lot of other things dabbled in like GTA RP back on Family RP. I'm actually the head caster for Evasion.
Nice.
So whenever we do any kind of Tarkov esports events, I'm usually hosting or casting with those guys and just trying to get the team together over there, which hopefully we'll have more stuff coming up very soon. A new season 7 right around the corner. So very excited about that. Casting Tarkov is unlike casting anything else. It is an adventure. I mean, Toffee's. I've had the pleasure of casting with Toffee's here on some Tarkov stuff with Pest, and man, it's great. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm here. I'm a Tarkov creator. This is what I do.
Nice.
I love this game.
What's your Twitch?
Twitch is UnfluffyBunny. You can find me at Twitch.
Is it an underscore on the Twitch or is it just on the Twitch?
No underscore on the Twitch.
Cool.
Only on the Twitter.
For those of you listening to the show, UnfluffyBunny, no underscore. If you're watching, his Twitter is at UnfluffyBunny with an underscore. Poro's at Porosaurus _NA. Toffee's TV over here. You don't have to follow me though. I don't give a shit. Follow
me.
You can follow him.
Follow me twice.
He desperately needs it. No, I will say this. The funnest part, the most fun I had casting with you guys at Evasion was Tarkov reminds me of the early days of PUBG, Poro, when no one knew how to cast it. There were no camera systems. There was no There was nothing. There was just no guidelines for how to do this correctly. And here we are with this sort of new experience where I think Evasion's done it well. There's a few others who've come on board that have been trying to do some production. And we're starting to finally get our heads around it. And I love that there's all kinds of stuff. They have push-in reporters. They have battle mods, Poro. There's literally people assigned to every team who are just in there during the game giving updates to the casters. Otherwise, there's no way to keep track of what's happening across the map. Yeah, it is super cool. So they've come up with a lot of really neat ways to sort of let us experience Tarkov professionally. And that's been a lot of fun to watch. Plus, Battle Arena's coming out later this year, which is going to be absolutely
should be a very as long as you get a good overview, right? Like a third person eye in the sky cam, and you can tell who you're looking at. And if you could tell who the fuck the person you're watching is shooting at, it's even more helpful. Apex.
And we don't have any of that yet on Tarkov, but one day. No, it's literally with the battle mods, because what'll happen is we'll be like, I think he sees him. Whose team is he going up against? You'll have a battle mod who's with one of the teams be like, oh, that's so-and-so's team. And then we can on the cast be like, okay, so-and-so's on the other side of the building right now. They're probably going to make contact in this next moment. And then the weatherman come in and be like, meanwhile, down at the gas station. It's quite a lot of fun. So hopefully we get to do a little more of this. I think we'd love to hang out, check that stuff out as it happens. Guys, I don't want to keep you anymore. I promised this podcast can be short, sweet. Listen to it on the drive to work. Listen to it at the gym. I will never do that. But that's just because I don't go to the gym. And it's going to be fun. I box lately. It's fun. I'm not great at it. It hurts, but it's a good time. So tune in. Follow us, Kitted Podcast, on Twitter, YouTube, as well as TikTok. I don't know what they're going to put on the TikTok content because I'm certainly not doing TikTok, but we will have stuff there for you. Kitted Podcast, we do an episode every week at the start of the wipe. I think when we get to the tail end of the wipe, we'll probably go to every 2 weeks as information slows down. People kind of lay off just a little bit and get reset for the next wipe. And we'll be here. So make sure you follow us. We're going to invite guests every single week, and we're going to make sure we have updates. I've even heard we're going to have access to some people who know what's going on at BSG, so we'll have a lot of good content coming your way. We'll have an appearance over on the community podcast to Hype Kitted next week, so hopefully you guys are there and tune in for that one. Bunny, before I let you go, any shout-outs, anything that you want to plug or let us know about before we end this show?
I mean, just check me out here on Twitch each and every day. I mean, especially with all of the crazy changes BSG is doing, we are going to be going over so much stuff. And just find my YouTube content, because that's where I put the most information out there with everything going on. And that is UnfluffyBunny also.
Nice. Poro, do you have any final thoughts before we call it an evening and get ready to head out?
No, I'm very excited. Hopefully you get to come back and I can regale you with more tales of me doing dumb shit, because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen frequently. So I'm excited though. I'm ready to get in and start doing offline raids. Offline raids is what I'm doing.
We got to get a PMC run, a live one in at some point next week, because I need to hear about the stress, because it's just such a different stress experience. But we're going to track Poro's progress. We're going to see where he goes. I'll keep you updated on what the rat life is like. It's good with the changes, I'll tell you that right now. And obviously check in with great streamers every single week. So make sure you follow. We'll see you. That's the end of the show for tonight. Later. I don't thumbs up. What? Peace sign. Later.